And I told everybody, I was like, hey, hey everybody, Axiom here. I got Cal on the chat with me. We're gonna start playing some Destiny 2 for a little bit today, just until we get tired.
Yeah.
Say hi, Cal.
Hello. It's a good day to shoot stuff in the face.
See, you missed a good opportunity there. You should have said hi, Cal. It's a joke. Like, you watch, one day you're gonna be streaming something. You're gonna be like, say hi, Axiom, and I'm gonna be like, hi, Axiom. And
This is silly.
everybody's gonna laugh.
But you don't disagree. That's a good day to shoot stuff in the face.
Oh no, I definitely agree that it's a good day to shoot stuff in the face. It's a little stormy out.
Yeah.
I had to call work and tell them I wasn't coming back for another bit yet.
Well, it's freaking dangerous to go back in there. You got idiots like
Right.
spitting on people, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not joking, folks. If he ever called me and be like, I was at work and somebody spit at me, he's gonna hear dead silence, and then he's gonna see his crazy ass woman up in this job with a sword. Did Destiny just kick me out? Holy crap, I think it did.
I don't see it being kicked out, but I'm in the menu, so I don't.
I went to
I'm
talk
not
to
seeing.
I went to talk to Zavala, and boom, I'm gone. I'm out. Back at the
See,
home.
I see. I really wish. Oh, you're gonna love this emote. I hope you have enough points for it. You need to stop by the test and check it out. It's called Feline Fancy. You sit in a chair and you slowly rotate around while stroking a cat.
I wish I was a cat, I'm telling you.
Fenchurch says a lot of fantastic things.
No,
I
it's
don't
just
believe him.
crazy. I went to go see what
We drove the red
missions or
region out.
bounties Zavala had, and it just
Whatever comes next.
completely dropped me.
Oh yeah, you're not even on the tower anymore.
Yeah, it kicked me out.
Zavala, I am gonna drop kick you off of this tower.
I
I
told
really
me I'm
wish you'd
not
let me
going to
drop kick
talk
him
to
off
him
that
again.
tower.
No. He deserves it. He is a
I just want
bad
to be
friend.
like, BAM! Kicked you in your chest.
For Cade.
All his stuff is strike based anyway.
It's just
What's with these
really
weird statues that they have now next to him? I
every
don't get it.
time I look, there's a weird new set of decorations.
Looking for something in particular?
Is it letting you rejoin my
I'm
party, or do I gotta send you an invite?
You probably have to send me another invite because I'm still stuck in that beginning screen of nothingness.
Ah, yes. The beginning screen of nothingness.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Destiny.
Now I'm finally in the part where they show our logos. This is the longest game to get into. It's crazy.
I have to remember how to do that voice. That's a really good voice for later on. Something, something, something dark side. Something, something, something complete.
I just kept calling everybody that's that Inquisitor to me Stormtrooper yesterday when I was streaming. 'Cause that's how I feel like
Right.
responding to them. I feel like Palpatine.
Stormtrooper. Stormtrooper. Stormtrooper.
It's just weird. It's like Inquisitor. It's like I got a name.
Yeah, I was sitting there the other day and I was reading a couple of Star Wars books. I read about two of them within the last probably week. Star Wars is one of those things that's really easy for me to go through and read. The hard part I've had with it is since
What do you
they've
seek?
pretty much killed 20 years of continuity, I have a hard time of everything I used to know was not canon anymore. So I got to reread these new stories and try to remember, okay, this is not going to lead there, it's going to go somewhere else, but they haven't written that book yet, so I can't know what's going to happen. But I read, what is it? I read Sith Lord, or Lords of the Sith, and then I read the Ahsoka novel. And the author of the Ahsoka novel, which let me get a look at it. This will be a good plug. Is E.K. Johnson. Johnston. E.K. Johnston wrote a pretty good story. It fills in a little bit of a gap. And I noticed that when they launched that last season of Clone Wars on Disney Plus, where it actually says Clone Wars, the last season, and I think it's only like 6 episodes. It ties in with the book from what I've seen. So
And
I was like, well, that's kind
ma-
of, neat.
yeah.
Did it let
I
you
had
back
to
in?
manually join you again because it told me that the instance you were in was too full, so it wouldn't let me join
I
you from
hate
your
that.
invites. That's Destiny's really getting on my nerves already.
Yeah, I was like, we haven't even started. We're barely. We haven't even just picked up bounties anywhere yet, and we're already being annoyed.
It's like, come on, game.
Um, so the thing I struggle with is, um, with as far as Star Wars go, I don't comprehend how he made that switch from light side to dark side. And granted, I hate Hayden Christensen with a passion. So it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me that he went to the dark side because you can just look at him and his smug little face and see that he would do so. Um, but the character of Anakin Skywalker, anything that I've watched, be it Clone Wars, the little animated series that they had on Disney Plus, any of the books that I've read that had his character in it, yeah, he's got, if you grew up hearing, you're the chosen one, you're going to bring balance to the Force. Yeah, you're going to be a bit of a snot, but nothing in there that would that he would turn on, especially when confronted with from his wife. His wife going, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?" That would snap him out of it. He cares more for her than anything else. No amount of thing is going to turn him into a greedy little Sith Lord, which is what he turned into. And it was just like, I don't comprehend the thought process that led to his little downfall. It just doesn't make sense to me. It seems very forced. Like this happened because it was supposed to happen. The 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It's like they're forcing one and they're forcing like 2 and 3 to equal 4. There's it's gonna shoehorn in here. We have to make it fit because that's what we said would happen. So because we said it would happen, we're gonna make it work. It just doesn't add up to me. So
And I
I
blame
went
the
out and I
writers
bought.
for that. I
Yeah,
do
so I went out and I
because
bought.
that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I
You
was
first,
just
and then
gonna
I'll go.
say, I just figured that if they had explained better that you know um Palpatine or maybe even another Sith person was getting in his head, was feeding him all the Jedi's doubts, because the Jedi did show doubts that Anakin would be good enough to train and stuff. They could have showed that being reinforced and feeding that, mentality of mistrust to him. But if you go just by the movies, which I didn't read the books like you did. I was just like, it don't make sense. He was a-okay with being a Jedi, and then all of a sudden he's murdering kids. What the heck?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I went out and I bought the Revenge of the Sith novel that's written by Matthew Stover, and this was based on the story and screenplay by George Lucas. And it's, for the most part, it is akin to the movie. I mean, a lot of stuff is happening, but since it's in the book, it's not just, hey, you should understand what's going on here. You're actually getting character insight into the characters on why they're thinking this way. And it is helping me understand a little bit more about what's going on in his head, and it does make it feel like it was a more slower process into this. Like in none of the stories that I've ever seen or that I've read or seen or anything like that, if you were just going by the visual stuff, I did not see one of these stories where when he was still a young uh, Padawan and he was just doing his training, Obi-Wan took him out into space and showed him a star that was dying. And the lesson there was that everything eventually passes. Nothing in this life is permanent, so that's why you don't hold on to possessions, because everything eventually will go away, you know.
I
And
somewhat get that, but I think that's kind of dumb because life is too short not to enjoy life too. That's why I
yeah.
would make a
Oh,
bad Jedi because,
yeah.
you
Don't get me
know,
wrong. I think that the number one thing that screwed the Jedi up was the fact of how they were training Jedi. I don't know
yeah,
how they got to the point of, hey, you got to beware the dark side. Don't have any feelings of any kind. No, that never works out. All you're doing is creating a pressure cooker that eventually is going to blow
exactly.
because
Telling people not
people.
to have emotion is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Those who
So
don't have
I don't.
emotions are sociopaths.
Yeah, and so I don't. I understand where they were coming from. I understand why they thought that was because, hey, if you teach people to be tranquil, almost like monks, basically. If you teach them how to forgo all this stuff, then you don't have to worry about it. And I was like, yeah, that works in the sense of if you have a personality that can do that, but you guys didn't make any allotment for personality of people that can't do that. It should have just been like, hey, there should have been different levels of Jedi. You have those that can let go of everything, and they're good with it, and you can make them the masters and everything. And if you want to become a master, you have to do this stuff. And then you could have your Jedi Knights that were like, you know what? They have families, they have loved ones, they have kids, they raise their kids in the temple.
Care of yourself, okay?
You could have made it like a big family, kind of like how in the later Star Wars books that Luke did. He actually had his Jedi that were they had friends, they had family. He didn't sequester everybody. Hey, if you're a Jedi, you're in the temple and you can't have any outside influence. No, he encouraged it, but he also encouraged you have to be careful and you have to deal with your negative emotions in a healthy way, otherwise they could pull you to the dark side.
Can
And I
I?
think that
Exactly.
really, like, there was nothing in the development of that character, of Anakin Skywalker, that wasn't gonna push him to that part. And I blame a lot of them. Like you said, it's just bad writing at this point. Did you get all your bounties?
Smart,
Yeah,
fearless people.
I
Okay,
checked
we'll,
down with
we'll
Benedict and got those bounties too, just in case.
okay. The Tangled Shore first, like we normally do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing.
Uh,
I mean, I get where they were going, and there's a lot of orders that do that. There's a lot of religions that do that too. You're not supposed to have material things, self-discipline and all that stuff. And there are humans that have that much willpower, and it makes them feel good. But when you try to force that on people, especially people who are already special and have powers, that's not a good thing, you know? People have emotions. They're allowed to live and love. One of my issues with Star Wars Tour when we used to play that was doing a mission for Light Side and it really going against everything that I was taught was good. You have these two people that are in love with each other but have to hide it because Jedi in training aren't allowed to have relationships. And you can either narc on them, which gets you light side points, or hide it, which gets you dark side points. And it's like, why is it dark to condone two people who fell in love? That doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah, and that's the whole. I understand the structure of how that. Their whole thing, even if even if I don't even think if Palpatine, if you take him out of the story, I still think Anakin would have gone to the dark side because it would have been so much pressure on him to hide his family from people that are supposed to be his friends, and they just would not give him his due, which when he's in the stories and stuff, he is a rational person. He is very loyal to his friends. There is no part of him that would do this. All Palpatine did was really speed up the process.
Yep.
I mean, you never really see him, like, yeah, he puts wrong advice into his head all the time. It's like, hey, if you have the power to do this, you should do this. Why do you listen to them when they say you shouldn't do this just because they say you shouldn't do this? Well, that just doesn't make sense. If you have the ability, you should do what you're able to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was some bad advice, but from what I've seen, it was never force influenced advice, which is what I assumed is how he was able to manipulate him. And he didn't. He found a person that he goes, hey, you know what? The Jedi have these shortcomings. I'm going to exploit those shortcomings so they actually drive him right to where I want him to go.
Yeah.
And there's really no one else to blame but the Jedi in there because they're the ones that
Set
they're the ones
those.
that caused it to happen.
Yeah. They set everything up for it to be do it this way or you fail as a Jedi. And it's like, if you're that rigid, you're going to break people. You've got to
Yeah.
be flexible when it comes to people's belief systems. And when you're that rigid, of course, people are going to rebel. There's absolutely no reason. Anakin was one of the most powerful people in the universe. He didn't have to listen to any of these idiots at all.
Yep. Yep. So I picked up the book because I read somewhere that there was a guy that was like, "Hey, the book was better than the movie," and I kicked myself at that point because I was just like, you're stupid. Here you are wondering why the character did something, and you never thought, "Hey, maybe I should read the book."
But a good
You
movie
know?
should just be an add-on
Yeah,
to, yeah,
yeah, I agree completely. The movie should have answered the questions that everyone was gonna have on there regardless. I shouldn't have had to read the book. It should have just been like if you watch just the movies, there's not enough in those movies to show you all this stuff going on. Plus,
and,
I really I don't wanna Hayden Christian bash all day or anything, but I really think he was the wrong person for that character
yeah,
because he never got to be a likable person to me. I
exactly.
was like the second I saw him, I was like, that guy's a little arrogant. Now, if you watch the Clone Wars animated stuff, that one looks fine. He doesn't even look anything like Hayden Christensen though.
hmm My thing is, all movies aren't made perfect. You're always going to have something,
No.
especially in a series where you feel like, well, they could have answered that better, or they didn't really transition that well. But there are plenty of movies that at least try to get it right. I mean, and even when they change something, I look at the Marvel movies, which we just nearly finished that whole thing. We just got Far From Home, and
Right.
I know that there's still a lot of unanswered things. I know there were a few things that I personally wasn't satisfied with myself, but a
Mhm.
lot of things made sense. And they really
Right.
did develop a lot of characters that I feel wouldn't have gotten development any other way, because the original Infinity Saga was bullshit. I know, I have the
Right.
books. Thanos was dumb. This was all because he had wanted Death to be his booty call. You know, Nebula was a complete psychopath, and she ended up being one of my favorite characters in this whole MCU saga because it just shows the trauma of being abused by your parent or step parent. And there's a lot of people that don't understand what that's like, that don't understand being raised by somebody who literally treats you like shit and breaks you down, and you still want to do what's best for them. You still care
Right.
about them, and how they treat you just gets pushed to the side. And my thing is, her transition from back and forth was done so smoothly, even in Endgame, where she literally dual rolled herself on both sides. And I still say
Yeah.
she was the best actor out of that whole movie, because she
Yep.
really did it convincingly, being both Nebulas, the one that had the transition where she seen what her hatred would get her, and the one that was still under Thanos' thumb. And I think they could have did the same thing in Star Wars with better writing and better direction to show that yes, he knew that going to the dark side was bad, but he felt like he had no choice. He was being influenced, and they didn't put that in. They opted for a lot of comedy in some of those movies too, which why it didn't need
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, I watched an episode of Clone Wars where he meets these people. It was basically the literal interpretation of him bringing balance to the Force. They were these. I missed that jump.
What killed
There
you?
were these Force. I missed a jump. There were these Force wielders that they were literally the physical manifestation of their father was the balance, his daughter was the light side, his son was the dark side. And they brought Anakin there, and he goes, because I need you to maintain balance because I'm dying, and you're strong enough to keep my children in line. And if you haven't seen the episode, by all means, go ahead and check it out. The problem I have with it is it's like a 3-part episode. And during the parts of the episode, at the beginning, he does what he's supposed to. He keeps them both in line. He brings them to heel, and shows that he is capable of keeping the balance between the two. But in the second and third episode, the son tries to win him over to his side, being like, "Hey, if you do what I do, we can bring order and let us out of this," because their father basically kept them trapped in their home. He didn't want them out in the universe because then they could influence everybody. And he didn't want that because the son would just run amok, and the daughter he didn't think would do much of anything to stop him. She'd kind of go like the pacifist route with it.
Wow.
But the son actually shows Anakin like, "Hey, this is what you need to know this. This is your future if you continue on the way you're going." And he shows him falling to the dark side and all the people he was going to hurt and everything else. So Anakin actually got a glimpse of himself becoming Vader.
Yeah.
And it was really demoralizing to him. He goes, "Oh my God, I hurt so many people." And the logic of the episode, this is where it falls apart to me. He goes, "My God, I hurt so many people. What can I do?" And he goes, "If you join me, there will be order, and you won't have, and none of those people will get hurt." And he goes, "You mean there'll be peace?" And he goes, "Yeah, there'll be peace." And then he turns to the freaking dark side. It's like,
Yeah.
you just saw what happens when you do this, and your answer was the thing that causes the problem. It's like, my God, man, it's like cancer to a prostate. You can't not turn to the dark side.
And my whole
You
thing
know?
is, if somebody wanted to just write that Anakin became spoiled and vain, and this is why he did it, make it believable too, because that does happen. You have people who are just born into everything. They have everything going for them, and it's still not enough, so they decide, I'm going to be evil too. I've got this power. But I don't think
Right.
that was even conveyed. They tried too hard to garner sympathy for him, and it's like,
Right.
no, it's either or. You either feel sympathy for him because he was denied his right, or the Jedi didn't treat him right, or you admit that he's a little prick and he didn't deserve anybody worrying about him. You know,
Right.
they
Well,
they
and
didn't
that's the
really
thing is,
develop him well enough.
and I think what they did is they developed him well, but what I think they did is they developed him too well the wrong way. They wanted to show, yeah, here's Anakin Skywalker, hero of the Jedi, hero of the Republic, and everything, and they did a halfway decent job of that. But then they fell away with, well, how do we turn him to the dark side now? He's the epitome of what a Jedi's supposed to be. How do we turn this around? And it's like, there are ways that you could have turned it around, because a lot of the stuff doesn't follow canon. If you look at and I'm sure they've edited the movies down enough now that you won't be able to find the stuff, because I hear Disney Plus even edited out the Greedo scene with Han Solo, so it's not
Yeah.
like there's a little bit extra dialogue that was never there before that gives Han reason to shoot him, and it's like, People, if you have never seen the original cut of Star Wars, Han was a dick. He shot
Yeah.
first. You know why he shot first? Because the galaxy is a hard and cruel place, and sometimes you need to kill the guy that's coming to kill you before you realizes that he's gonna die. This is
Yeah.
not something that needed to be. Han Solo was not always a nice guy. This was a person that was, hey, I gotta look out for me, but then made that transition of, you know what, I really do care about other people.
And that
It's an
happens
awesome story
too.
that way. It doesn't,
Yeah.
not everybody has to start out that same way of, hey, you know what, I was just a misunderstood hero in hiding, and now I can be the hero that I've always wanted to be. Not the case. Han was a dick. He shot Guido in the face because Guido let his guard down, and he saw an opportunity. That's it.
Exactly.
That's as simple as it can be. That's as simple as it is. There was no, hey, he's forcing me to do this. No. Han shot him cold dead. That's it.
Exactly. But people, they think humans are stupid. They don't think that we understand there's complexities to people's characters. And they just assume. And I hate the tropes. Love is bad. He fell in love, so he showed emotion. That's why he turned to the dark side. It's like, really? Because there are plenty of people in love that don't cross that line. And it just
Yeah.
sets a bad precedent for the Jedi. I always said, why would I want to be a Jedi when I show emotion, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of a group that's like, oh, that's bad. You have these powers. You've got to control yourself. But then again, I don't want to be a Sith either because some of the stuff they do is just beyond ridiculous and genocidal. It's like
Yeah. See,
I
and that's
would be a Gray, definitely.
the part of the thing I don't get either. It's like every Sith turns into a douchebag. I was like, well, no. I mean, the Sith. I mean,
I played
if you read
Kahira
the
with so much light side points. It was like, what the heck am I doing?
yeah, well, that's the whole thing. The Sith were an actual race before it became um a term
Collective.
for people that turn to the dark side. So I was like, I don't understand that. Like, how there are people out there. I don't think the people realize that there are people out there that can use that negative emotion in the Force to do what they need to do and not turn into a universe ruling dick.
Exactly. I
There are
don't want to
people out
control
there
the
that can use
universe. I just want
anger.
to force choke
Yeah,
stupid people.
yeah, there are people out there that can use anger, and it's not just a hey, you know what? Now I got to take over the planet. I don't understand that. I was like, it's a person's negative emotions running rampant. Not everybody's going to go that route, but yet everybody seems to go that route. So my question to everybody else is, what the hell's in those mini chlorians that make them do this? you
Exactly.
know,
But I think
and
that's
that's the other thing I don't like about the movies.
anybody
Is
with
like,
powers.
well, yeah, absolute power corrupts. Absolutely, that's it.
And I mean, some
If
of our
you,
best superhero moments has been when the hero has been pushed to their limit and they unleash their fury. Hulk being one of my favorites. You
yeah,
know, anger is a very
but
powerful emotion.
yeah, but that's just one of the. I'm hoping that by the time I get done reading the book, I'll understand it better because I just don't. I the way I would have done it, and this is just me being a fan, taking all the lore that I know, and there's a lot of lore I don't know, especially now that they've redone everything. Are we sticking around for the event, or do you want to go to a different area?
We can go to a different area. I'm just shooting stuff.
Okay, because I think I got a bounty in Jetsam and over by the Cabal to do yet.
Okay.
Um, 3 patrols. Defeat Cabal and Sorik's Cut. Yeah, so I got one for Sorik's Cut.
Okay. And then I took
Um,
the Prince of Yule, I think, for. Oh, I got Palace
oh, I can't.
Siegebreaker, but they redo.
Yeah, I can't teleport there because I got that patrol going, so I got to drive.
Okay.
Um, But like what I would have done is, they had the Clone Wars, and I didn't understand. Like, Clone Wars makes me think that you're fighting clones. So why wasn't the Clone Wars? Uh, why wasn't it that the Emperor used cloning vats to clone all the major Jedi? So you had an evil Yoda running around, you had an evil Mace Windu running around, you had an evil Kenobi running around. Why wasn't it that, and they had to take out their counterparts, and the clone that was Anakin, like, disguised himself as another Jedi and then betrayed and murdered Anakin on a mission? It would
Hmm.
fit perfectly with the story. I was like, hey, this is my new Padawan. His name's Vader. Uh, I'm going to be training him, and I want you to take him on a mission with you so that he can learn from you. And he goes, okay. And then he goes on a mission, and then you find out that it was Anakin's evil clone the entire time. Why wasn't that ever a thing?
I think they just tried too hard to redeem Anakin. I was okay with Anakin just going to the dark side. It happens. Bad stuff happens. The problem is people don't know how to write complex bad guys. It has to be, oh, they're misunderstood. It's very rare nowadays to get a bad guy that's actually, just bad to be bad, because people don't want to
Yeah.
understand that stuff like that happens. Another thing is, if they write a bad guy, they have to try to give them that extra humanity. And sometimes it works. Like, Magneto has always been one of my most favorite comic book villains. Why? Because he is exactly what happens when bigotry pushes you over the edge. You know, One of my things that I loved about him was the fact that even though he was wrong in hate and humanity, he had absolutely every fucking reason to get to the point where he was at. He was in a concentration camp, for fuck's sake, you know?
Right.
And when this one professor explained it, that they based the X-Men off of both Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, it just made me appreciate Magneto more, because my family was very proactive about teaching us the word of Malcolm X, and how angry it was how angry he was about how we were being policed, how we were treated, non-human like at times. So I could see him going back and forth. I could understand, like, when he really wanted to be not so hateful and wanted to find that peace with Charles, and then realizing, now fuck this. These humans are beneath us. They treat us like we're vermin. I'm going whole ham. So I think it could be done right. The flip flop and the back and forth. Is he good? Is he bad? But in the hands of bad writers, you get that whole question of, well, if Anakin was so good and he was supposed to bring balance to the Force, why did he go so heavily to the dark side? And even as
Right.
he's redeemed in, like, the earlier movies, because of the love of his son, I think it would have just been enough to where he realized all was death and destruction, and all it's ever gotten me was more death and destruction. you know I
Right.
tried to be a conqueror, and I lost everything, including my children.
Right. And
So
that's the whole thing too. Is I think what they did is they tried to write a story that they didn't have a way to back out of it. Like, they made him a hero. Great. They wrote the hero perfectly, but they didn't have a good enough story for why does this hero fall the way he does.
yeah.
And it fell apart. They tried to tear him down, and he didn't tear down the way they wanted it to, or it didn't feel natural with how it happened. You
And it
know.
comes off as misogynistic to me, and I'm just gonna go there, because for me, it feels like they were blaming him falling in love with Padme for his fall. I mean, there's no other way for me to interpret that. You know, why
Well,
else?
that, and
He
it's just
he
if
had his powers. He had the woman he loved. He had kids. Well, he didn't know there were kids on the way, supposedly, but still. I mean,
well, that and the whole thing of, like, when you see at the end of the movie, he tells him, Palpatine tells him, "Hey, you killed your wife," and okay, he assumes, well, I killed my wife, that must mean I killed my kid too, and I can understand that little perpetual hate machine just kind of feeding itself in him for years.
Yeah.
But you never got to see his response when he finds out, hey, your son's alive, which means that your wife survived to a point.
And you have a
Wouldn't that
daughter
make you
too.
question? Yeah, wouldn't that make you question your choices up to that point? And then to find out
Exactly.
that you have a daughter and you're still trying to turn your kid to the dark side. I mean, none of his actions meet up with what I guess what logically would happen in my head. You know, yeah, he tries to betray the Emperor later on and stuff, but that's like all Sith do that,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Palpatine expects it. He's like, one day you will try to overthrow me, and if you don't, then I failed to train you properly. It's like he expects it to happen. So it's like, how do you? I don't know. I think they got a lot
Yeah.
of lazy writing there that needs to be cleaned up.
Exactly. Because, like I said, if they wanted to do the whole Anakin just got seduced by power and the whole being manipulated thing, fine, but stop trying to make him such a redeemable character, too. Sometimes a bad guy's okay just being the bad guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm definitely that way because there's a lot of bad guys that are just like nowadays are like, oh, he's misunderstood. He's not really a bad guy. I was like, I miss just people just being a bad guy. I miss a person
Yeah.
just, hey, he's a bad guy just because he's a bad guy. Look at the old 80s Transformer cartoon. Megatron is a bad guy. That's
Yeah.
it. He's not misunderstood, and they've changed the story since then. So now he's a more misunderstood bad guy. But it
I
kind of
hate
worked for
that.
him in a way in how they did it. But still, I was okay with him being a bad guy. Here's a better one,
Exactly.
Skeletor. He is a bad guy. There is no
Yep.
mis communication with that. He is just a bad guy. He wants to rule Eternia because he thinks he's the best one to rule Eternia. That's it.
And before they started making live action movies of him, Joker's one of my most favorite DC villains because he's fucking crazy. And let's just say crazy respects crazy. And
Yeah.
my
Well,
thing
I
is,
don't
they're
like what they've
always
done to
trying.
him
Yeah.
a lot too, because they try to make it look like like he really doesn't have a rhyme or reason to his method. Um, they try to make it look like he does, and I think he tries to make it look like he does. But I think that's all just a disguise to just him being like, no, I'm just that crazy, you know?
The Dark Knight movie, I think to me was the best literal adaptation of that for him. The whole, do you think I have a plan? That's
Right,
to me that was the most brilliant piece of explaining to him. The beauty of him was the fact that he just goes by the seat of his pants because fuck it. Like Alfred said, some men just want to watch the world burn. And there
yeah,
are people out there like that. And I'm not saying that he doesn't take away that he might have had a tragic backstory. A lot of people, I have a tragic backstory, people. It's
right.
just how you decide to carry yourself. I tell people all the
Which means
time, I was
you
one
should
bad
not be
day from a
surprised.
supervillain.
You should not be surprised when she turns out to be a supervillain.
I'm already being rumored as a cult leader, so I mean, you never know.
And hey, if anybody wants to send her shit, go right ahead. I don't care if you guys wanted to treat her like a cult leader. Fine, we're not cult leaders. we're not
And
gonna
not.
we're not gonna reciprocate that. But I never say no to free stuff.
That's the thing, though. It's weird because the person that accused me of it never interacted with them. They were telling people in DMs, warning people of my cult, and I'm like, I got a cult? This is news to me. 'Cause I
Right.
tend to not talk to people most of the time. So, I thought it was hysterical at first, and then it was like, oh, she's serious. She really thinks I'm out here trying to influence people in that way, and it's like, no. I won't even allow people to
No.
call me an influencer. I think that is just no. I don't tell people how to think and feel. If anything, I like to tell people think for yourself. Because what
Yeah.
I feel, what
If
works
you've
for
been
me, won't
influenced
work
by
for you. Yeah.
if you've been influenced by either one of us,
That's
check
bad.
yourself.
Exactly.
You have issues that only thousands and thousands of dollars of therapy can fix.
And I honestly, I don't mind when people say, "Oh, something you wrote inspired me," or "I really feel you when you put something down." That feels good, but don't put me on a pedestal. I'm a human. I am prone to
Yeah.
flaws and fuck ups, and I do not want you looking at me like I'm better than people because I'm not. I'm a human being too.
She's
I'm
not.
just
I
willing
have this
to
channel
admit it.
rated G. I had to
I'm
change it
sorry.
from a rated G channel to an MA channel because you heard the swamp mouth.
I'm
She is
sorry.
just all over the place with it, and I tried to get her to stop. I've washed her mouth out with soap. I've done hot peppers. Uh, I haven't
It's
done any
just,
of those things. I feel that she would hurt me if I tried.
yeah, I was about to say. It's kind of like Ned Flanders decided to date the brat or Foxy Brown. It's not. It's funny sometimes because you're like language, and I'm like, what? This is my everyday talk.
Oakley dokley. Ooh, a kill 'em all. I love those.
Kill 'em alls are my favorite,
Simple and to the point.
It's none of my business. But if you're gonna be here on the shore,
especially since we're killing them all anyways.
mutual enemies.
Yeah. Well, so I was talking to Brian yesterday, and I have a funny story to share with you once I'm done with this one. Um, well, I forgot what I was gonna say now. I've completely I saw something shiny and I completely
And
lost
it's
my train of
gone.
thought.
But
And it's gone.
Brian, what were you talking about with
No,
Brian?
it was opposite Brian. What were we talking about before that?
Um, we were talking about language.
Now I lost the first one. I'll tell you the second one then because I can't remember it. I hate when that happens too. I was
Yeah.
so worried about forgetting the second one that I forgot the first one, and the first one was one I really wanted to tell you, and now I can't remember what the heck we were talking about. Um, that irritates me. All right. Well, anyway, yesterday me and the folks went for a ride because with everybody in lockdown, that's really the only thing you can do and stay away from people is to just go for a car ride. Um,
Yeah.
so we just went out for a ride, and as we were riding around, and I told this story once already, so if anybody's listened to this on stream, I'm sorry for repeating the same story, but it was hilarious. Uh, so we were riding around, and as we were driving down a side road, this bird just came out of nowhere and flew right into the tire, right inside the wheel well. Okay? So all you heard was the dunk, and that was it. And I was like, holy crap,
Oh
what was
no.
that ran out there? And my dad goes, it was a bird. He flew into the tire well. There was nothing we could do to stop it. I mean, it flew like if the bird had a nationality, it was a kamikaze bird.
Oh
Okay?
my gosh, you're so crazy.
I'm just saying, this bird was either really, really depressed or really, really stupid. So take your pick. Um, and I made a couple of little jokes around there. I was like, we're gonna go out and there's just gonna be a beak and a pair of little feet sticking out of the tire. And we got
What did
home,
your
and I
mom
don't know.
say?
My mom always says, I was like, oh, that's horrible. Um, so we went up, we got done, and we're like, "What do you want to pick something up to eat before we head home?" And I was like, "Yeah, I better have something else to eat because I haven't really eaten that much today, so I don't want to get, I don't want to get starving hungry at around midnight, and I still got that hole back where they pulled that wisdom tooth out, and then I have to sit there and try to think of what I can snack on, and I can't have hardly any of the snacks that I normally have because I don't want to get anything stuck back there." So we stopped and got some food, and we were pulling into the house. And I don't know what made me think of it. You know how my brain works. It just popped into my head. And as we're pulling up to the house, I started thinking about that bird, and I was like, uh, I was just thinking about that bird, and I was thinking, I wonder how it's doing if it actually survived there. And I thought, you know what? It probably doesn't feel real well right now.
Oh, good lord. Oh my
And
goodness, you.
I was laughing so hard, and I realized, yes, I'm laughing at my own joke, but I am laughing so hard at my own joke. I have tears coming down my face like it
Oh
was the
my
funniest thing that
goodness.
anybody had ever said ever, and I got nothing from anybody else. My dad just shook his head and got out of the car. My mom's just like, that is horrible. And I am crying because I just think that's the funniest joke I've ever come up with.
Oh my
And I got
goodness,
nothing from
you.
nobody else. And it was a good, I'm going to say I laughed for probably a good 3-4 minutes. Like I'm trying to get out of the car, but I am so weak from laughing because not, I can't stop myself from laughing that I'm unable to get out of the car.
Oh my
Good job,
goodness.
boy. And they belong to me as well. Well, they will belong to me.
And I realize
But
how stupid it is now, yeah, but at the time it was hilarious.
you are well known for your dad jokes. When I was playing DAI yesterday, I was like, I could hear you doing a dad joke to something I said in my head because of how many of them you do. So I don't know if I'm just conditioned to your dad jokes and I'm just prone to laugh or what, but
Right. Oh, it just means that I'm finally working my way into your
you don't
psyche
want
there,
into this.
which should concern you a great deal.
It should concern you more. This psyche's already twisted, sir. And it's got plenty of people up in here. I tell people all the time. My head is like a crowded car, always.
I'm showing a cabal of
Mine's like a
demons
crowded
some
car that
cold,
everybody's
blood
singing "Roll, roll, roll
compensation.
your boat" in tandem.
No, no singing this way, thank goodness.
Merrily, 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 row your boat down the stream. Life is but a merrily dream. Let's go.
You are so crazy. But yeah, I think what I wanted to stay away from when we decided to start writing and getting our stories out was the whole sympathy for the devil lean that a lot of these newer stories have.
Right.
Yeah, we have bad guys that are complex in our stories. We have bad guys that might even come across as sympathetic sometimes. And then we just have assholes. And then we have good
Yep.
guys that do asshole stuff because that happens too.
Yeah. Well, that's I kind of take the Studio Ghibli approach to a lot of stuff. Is everybody kind of takes their turn at being the bad guy. You
Yeah,
know, today's hero's tomorrow's bad guy. Yesterday's bad guy is tomorrow's hero.
exactly. And the thing I think people don't understand, oh, the cover's off. Never mind.
Yeah. Never mind.
Never mind.
Apparently, people don't like better prizes. They are happy to take the small instead of going for the medium or large.
Heroic event bad. Take too much time for them to do simple task.
Heroic event. Bah.
I got a memory of K drop. That's new.
Oh
I
yeah, you
thought
haven't got one of those yet?
no, I got it when we did the actual K quest. I didn't think it was a
You must
random drop.
you must not have Oh, you got the armband.
Yeah, I've been
Okay, I thought you
wearing the
got one of his
armband.
notes.
No, no. The Warlock bond dropped again. I thought that was a quest specific drop.
No, it's I think at the time it was, but I believe they've opened it up to now it's just a random. Cuz
Oh, mine
I've
is
gotten my
maxed
cloak a
out.
couple different times. So, yeah, I've kept mine too. I think I upgraded it with the newer versions with the upgraded how the armors and you can upgrade them and stuff. But
The newer
I haven't
versions
taken it
suck.
off yet.
And I've had unsolicited advice and word of wise guys, mind your business. I don't need you to tell me that my armor needs upgrading. I like the mods on my armor, and the new armor doesn't allow that, so I'm not changing them. While
Yeah,
you're
and she does
dying
just
over and over, I can take hits.
and she does just fine. Thing I die more than she does, and I got more than newer armor.
I tell people all the time, they always go for like new and shiny because, oh, it seems better. And it's like, yeah, I'm reviving your corpse constantly, random guy that wants to tell me my armor needs upgrading. That was
Right.
the funny part. We were on Mars. This guy kept dying. I saved him twice. And his response to me was, oh, you need newer armor. It's like, F you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Right. Did you want to go to Mars for a little bit now? Maybe we can get some protocols done.
Yeah, we can go to Mars. Shooting Cabal there is just like shooting Cabal here. Stupid mole rats. But yeah, I tell people all the time that I'm not the hardest person to get along with. I'm team keep it simple stupid. But if you don't vibe well with me, I'm gonna let you know just so that neither one of us will waste our time.
Right.
I just think it's a lot better not to pretend to be friends with everybody or like everybody because that's not realistic. I'm not going to be rude
Yeah.
about it, but once you know I don't like you, don't expect me to change. It takes a lot. A lot of people aren't worth it. I think one of our close friends doesn't seem to understand that because of their own situation that, if they put me in a situation where I have to deal with their ex, they're going to see a nasty side of me. And that's just based on the stuff that they told me about their ex, but they can't keep that person out of their lives for some reason.
Right. Well, that's the thing that I don't get a lot is if you have somebody that is, oh, let's say one of those people that come into your life and they jump up and down on the button that irritates you, just don't have anything to do with that person. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing saying you have to do stuff with that person. And there's been a lot of times that um, I've been in situations where I have to deal with somebody I don't like, working retail. You get the same customer 15 or 16 times, and it's because they like, well, I'm going to come back to you because I like how you handle my stuff, and you just can't stand the side of the person.
Yeah.
And every time they come in, they're coming right to you. I was like, in that case, yeah, you don't have a choice in the matter. You have to deal with that person. It's your job. You just do the best you can. But in your personal life, no one's going to come up and say, hey, you did a real good job. Here's a little bit extra reward for you. It doesn't happen. Don't put yourself
No.
through misery. If you're not happy with somebody, don't deal with the person. Don't go
And,
kill the person like a lot of people tend to do nowadays because that's just stupid. Just leave.
and who you're social with should be up to you. You shouldn't feel obligated to socialize with somebody just because they have some weird relation to the people that you actually want to socialize with. One
Yeah.
of the things is we have mutual friends and that we have our own separate
Let's
friends.
get to it.
And I know I've got certain friends that I would probably not ask you to hang out with both of us at the same time because it's not that you wouldn't get along, it's that I know they would get on your nerves. And vice versa. You have a friend that I still don't understand why you're friends with them, but that's your friend. And I
Right.
mean, they're as
It's
close
useful.
as a friend as they can be for how annoying they are with you. And I mean, when you tell me they annoy you, it's like, okay, you're being nice and dealing with this person. As long as I don't have to deal with them, I'm fine, you know?
Yeah.
But he's twice asked you since he's gotten a girlfriend, when are we all going to hang out? And it's like, we're not, because I don't like you,
Right.
you know? And there are your friends that I feel are like family. They could ask me to help them or do anything for them because they're like your brothers.
Right.
So I mean, there's a balance there. With that one dude, when he pissed you off that one last time, and I know you're all turned the other cheek, he's dead to me as far as I'm concerned. You're the type of
Yeah.
person who your friends can piss you off, and you're like, okay, I'll calm down. It's more on them than me. Me, once you piss me off to that point, that's it. You're done. I'm scorched earth. That's why we balance each other out, though. Because
Well, no, it's
sometimes
just
he
I have
can't get me
a
to calm
I
down from
don't
scorched earth.
I I
Sometimes.
don't I don't like to just, I'm not one of those people that is just like, okay, I'm gonna cut you out because you've annoyed me. It's like people have days where they're annoying, and there's certain people that there's certain people that you can hang out with, and you can always hang out with that person. They're always going to be your friend. They're always going to be that person that I have a lot of friends that I'm that person for. I'm that crazy guy. You don't know what I'm going to say. You don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to be entertaining. But I also, hey, let's ask so and so to hang out with us. He's not going to do it, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not one of those people that you call up and be like, hey, do you want to go hang out? We're going to a bar. We're going to go do this. No. I was like, leave me alone. I want to read my books. I want to play my video games. I want to watch TV and relax. I was like, that's how I live. That's how I work and everything. Um, but
I
then
just,
there's other people that you outgrow,
yeah.
and they want to still be the same person they were in high school or college, and while they can still can consider it fun and okay to do that stuff, sometimes you do outgrow people, and that's okay. It's never let somebody make you feel bad for moving beyond that. Now, if it's something silly like, they like to play video games and you don't like to play video games anymore, you can still hang out with that person. You can still be friends. It's just you're going to have to choose your behaviors a little bit more selectively. But if their personality just stops meshing with yours, then it's like you need to address it and just tell them, hey,
Or if they're a total tool bag, because I'm sorry, and you listen to Axiom speak, he is a very level. He tries to keep calm. He is. It's very rare to hear him upset and angry. As I'm the polar opposite. You are more than likely going to hear me more upset and angry than calm and serene. There's only been one time I've ever had him so completely upset and mad, and it was a friend that did it. And it was because the friend was an insensitive a hole who consistently doesn't think about anything but himself. And I'm not going to call him out by name, but he did something that to me was unforgivable. And he still thinks that you should be BFFs. And I'm like, if I ever see this guy, I'm going to punch him in the face. I'm dead serious about it. Because that was the first and only time I ever heard somebody make you that upset. And you know what he did, and he knows what he did, but I guarantee you he doesn't think it's a big deal because you're so nice about it. And that
well, I'm
just
not
bothers
gonna.
me.
Well,
It
that's my
bothers
thing, and
me.
I don't hang out with that person anymore. If I see him, I nod, But
But he doesn't seem
I've
to
made a
get it because he's all like, we should all hang out. And it's like, you don't understand. My girlfriend will stab you. I do not like that dude.
which actually brings around the better point of sometimes if you introduce your friends to your girlfriend, you have to change their name. Hi, this is Paul.
I've been nice to people that I don't particularly like that you've shown me at your work. There was that one guy that I really couldn't stand, but I just walked by him. I didn't even side eye him. But that was just he's
Reasons.
at work.
There
I
were there
don't
were
wanna.
there were other
Yeah,
reasons why we didn't, and they're not important anymore. It's long since passed, but we're just
yeah,
not going to get into it because
exactly.
it's something that at the time I would have been fully justifiable with, but now it's gone past that.
Plus, I don't want to affect your actual professional life like that. But this is different.
Right.
This is somebody who literally every time he sees you thinks, oh, we're still in that BFF mode, and he wants to include me in it. And I don't put my foot down on many things with us because you're not really overly demanding boyfriend at all. It's pretty nice, but I don't want to ever hang out with that person ever.
Right.
So if
And
our
if any of my
actual friends are listening,
actual
you should
friends,
know that
yeah,
this doesn't apply to you
if any
because
of
we've
our
hung out.
if any of our actual friends are actually watching this and listening to it, uh, you should know right off. If you haven't figured it out by now, you should know we're not sociable people. I was like, you may want to hang out and stuff. We will. You let us know like a couple months ahead of time. We'll try to work up the
Even then,
want to and the thing to hang out so that we can actually do stuff and have fun. But after that happens, you're gonna have to give us a few months to recover from it.
yep.
We do not.
I tell people all the time that I have very bad introvert tendencies, and I can people up for a bit. I could spend hours with our friends for a bit, and then I'm okay not seeing your faces for a very long time. And it's
Right.
not that I don't love you, but I just don't want to be around you. And most of our
Kind of
friends are
liking
pretty
this.
cool with that.
I'm kind of liking this armor I picked up, but I don't know if I should switch it out or not because I don't. It's
If you
got a
like
kind of a
it,
neat look to it. Um, I just don't
how's
know
it
how well it's gonna
function?
do. Function-wise, it's pretty good. I take a little bit of a hit on mobility and discipline, I think, but everything else is pretty decent on it.
That's good. My armor, I completely wanted to get a high resilience rate because,
Right.
as nice as running fast is, being able to take damage to me is better. And I'm at a 90 now with my
Right. Well,
resilience.
if I include it just like it is, my resilience goes up to a 72, and it was at a 69, so it's a little bit better that way. My mobility goes down to a 20 from a 32, but I can always pop I have a mod for higher resilience or mobility that I can put on there. That goes to a 51. That goes down, so it's really not that bad. I could always put a resilience mod on it too and jack it up a little bit more. I'll let you take a look at it and you can tell me what you think of it.
Yeah.
The neural net is active. I'm sending the javelin your way.
We can't let the Hive claim this war center.
Yeah, I just cut that guy's face off.
Hive suppression kit
Oh, I'm
done.
full of glimmer again. Really? First world problems.
Right. But we've got too much money, too much freedom.
Rasputin is activating the Valkyrie.
I still think the
I do
glimmer
have a
cap
thing
is
for
dumb.
Valkyrie
I'm
kills.
gonna say that every time we play this game.
Yep. I agree with you.
We're guardians. You're telling me we don't have banks or ways to store our monies? Really?
Oh, I think that's the funny part. We actually do have banks, and they're not used as banks.
Yeah. And I barely pay attention to my glimmer until I get glimmer capped, and it's like, oh, okay. I gotta figure out what
Right.
I want to spend this on.
Come on.
If
Spawn 'em
bounties
down.
on the Tangle Shore weren't tied to their own stupid bounty, bounty money, I would probably just use all my glimmer on those. I don't understand why they need dead ghost shells on top of glimmer.
Right.
Hive are sending an ogre. I have just what you need.
I know, got her. Arrgh.
Now I got the Mike Myers voice talking about onions in my head.
Right.
Like an onion, you peel back the layers.
Oh, cake. Everybody loves cake. Cake's got layers.
War sat.
All day's work. Great job out there.
Ooh,
Yeah,
he
that's
showered
right. He took a
whole bunch
javelin
of
to the
stuff.
face.
Dude just made it rain, gear and stuff. Woot. Is that guy still throwing the
Armory
javelin?
code.
It's over, dude. Stop doing
Probably.
that.
It's over. All the bad guys are dead. You can't get any more javelin kills.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you think about this one?
Oh, okay. That's not bad. I like the look. You got kind of like a bounty hunter rocking going.
Yeah, so I kind of like. I just got to decide what perks I want to throw on it. Because I think if I level it up, it'll be better than what I had currently had equipped. But it's one of those things I always hate. I'm horrible when it comes to giving up armor. If I like a look of something, I just will not change it.
Yeah.
Like my helmet, I keep waiting for a better helmet because I got two of them that I like, but their stats are crap. But I won't get rid of it because, hey, maybe I can, maybe they'll come up with a way to alter it some way, somehow, someday.
When did I get this Fellwinter's helm? I can't wear it because it's exotic anyway, and I'm not changing out my Firestar robes.
Right. Okay, so the mobility is really low, and the discipline is really low. So I think I might go with the mobility up, because that'll help even out the armor a little bit.
Yeah, plus on your build, speed does help you a lot better.
Yeah, because then if I do the mobility build on it, my mobility only drops 2 points. My resilience goes up by 3. My recovery stays the same, so that's good. And my intellect goes up. So that's actually not that bad. Now I just got to mess with the shaders on it.
I'm gonna keep this new Cade memory bond because if I can upgrade it to be a little bit better, maybe I'll switch to a
Right.
newer piece. The thing is, you can't get mod 10 on most of this stuff anymore, which is what I was rocking for the longest time. And I don't care what anybody says, mod 10 is one of the best mods out there. And I don't want to have to respend a whole bunch of stuff to get half the coverage that I currently have.
Right. That kind of gives it a neat little look. The black looks like it's kind of shifting. I'll apply
Sweet.
that for right now.
And I don't think people understand this about me. I love crafting. I know Destiny doesn't have real crafting, so the closest thing to it is picking my own armor gear, mismatching until I get the stuff that I want. For me, that's the
Well,
closest thing to crafting
I don't think they
I'm gonna
realize
get.
that with a lot of stuff on Destiny is people like being able to make their character unique.
Yeah.
You know, people like being able to be like, hey, you know what? I want this, 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 and this. And when you give them that, the game does really well because everybody's like, hey, I enjoy this game. I can take something that is generic to everybody else, but I can make it mine so that
Yeah.
it's unique to me. And a lot of people don't understand that with when they build their games, and it's like, yeah, it's going to take you a little bit more time, but if you can make it so that people feel emotionally connected with their game, wow, that is that is funny.
What
Are you looking at
happened?
my stream right now?
Yeah. Ooh.
Look at my.
Hey
I
there,
don't even know how to.
Foxy.
I don't even know how I feel about that. I think with a different
That's
helmet, I would actually like it.
that would be a look though. I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of was like, woo.
Right? I was just kind of like, wow,
How you doing?
that's a that's a lot of flair there. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
If you change to that color scheme, I might have to upgrade from my dark purple and black look. But I don't think I have too many. I gotta see if I can rebuy the new Monarchy shaders because I think that's the only way I can get that look.
Well, I just went into my collections. I had the shader already. Oh, I didn't put anything else on here. Let me see what I got. Increase the amount of ammo you can carry. Rifle class, arm reserves, reduces flinch. I guess I'll carry more hand cannon ammo. And
Yeah,
bows,
that's
that's
good.
always good. And then I'll have to upgrade it some more, but I didn't want to do it because I got those enhancement prisms I've been trying to save. I wonder how that Rose quest is going. 'Cause I'm
Eventually, it'll
almost to the last part of that.
come out with some like decent, really decent sets. I hope, like most MMOs. Like yesterday,
Right.
before we started to, I think we watched TV together and stuff. But I jumped on DDO because I have a rogue who has this assassin gear, and I was missing one item from it. So I knew the quest
Oh,
that I needed the item from, and I just brought my other ranger rogue into it because she can solo that quest without even thinking. And it took 10 tries, but I finally got the braces to drop because you need 5 for the set to unlock all the bonuses. But that's how, once I get a set that I know will work for a build, I will farm it out. I'm not against farming. I'm not against the grind if it pays off. What pisses me off about Destiny is you grind, 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 and then you lose all your work. Because they either invalidate it with something else or they nerf it because people whine that, oh, it's too powerful.
right. Well, it's just like I'm checking on the Weapon of Hope one that I have to get the Rose gun, and I'm at 51%, and it says complete activities throughout solar system with Rose equipped. Fighting in fire team with other Rose wielders grants the most effective progress. So it's
I
like
don't
I've been
have a
playing and
rose.
playing. No, it's fine. I wouldn't ask you to do that anyway, because I would just I just have to have it equipped. I don't actually have to be using it.
Yeah.
Um, but and it's just completing activities. So the more activities I complete while using it, and the bad thing is I don't know what denotes an activity. Is it patrols? Does it have to be certain other
Events.
stuff? You know, events, weekly missions, daily missions. Thank you. I got some watermelon.
Nice.
Watery, watery melon. Fresh fish. We catch it, you buy it.
I'm probably gonna
Um,
nom on some frozen pineapples later.
she means cut up frozen pineapple. She doesn't mean that she's actually going to get a pineapple out of the freezer and just crunch on it through the crust.
No, I've got them pre-sliced. I just like them better cold. And kiddo was like, "Why you got frozen bananas?" And I was like, "Well, A, because every time I get regular bananas, they go bad way too quick. And if I want to make
Right,
bread or smoothies, it's easier to just thaw out the frozen bananas."
right.
And he's always questioning stuff. I'm going to break him of that eventually.
You know the bad part about that though is once you break him of that, he's gonna be like, "Why did you do this? Why did I thought that's how it would get done? Why didn't you ask? You always yell at me when I ask."
I'm just going to have him learn because I say so. Because one day he's going to be a parent of a kid that asks every single time why something is.
That's a
And
scary
normally I
thought.
don't. I know. But I mean, I don't mind normal questions, but you don't get normal questions with kiddo. And I love him, but I've come to understand that because he assumes that as an adult, we know everything about everything. And he gets kind of
Right.
indignant when he'll bring something up that he knows everything about, and when sitting there blank face, because it's like, huh? Like the other day, I
Yeah, it
love
was.
him, but he knows I don't know much about the deep or the ocean. That's his forte. And he'll ask me these wild questions. It's like, well, I don't know. And then he gets an attitude. It's like, well, you tell me. This is your passion.
Yeah, this is what you're into. Why are you asking a question you already know the answer to?
Yeah. It's like, if you want to
It's just
tell
like
us
when he
about it,
asks.
tell us.
Like when he asked us the other day, I was like, "What would you do if a bee stung me? Would you capture it?" It's like, "No. Why would I
No.
capture it? What are you doing to get stung by a bee for?"
Yeah. And then I tried to explain to him why I don't think holding animals captive is a good idea. And I was like, you know this. He does not like zoos for that reason. So why would you do that to a bee?
Right. Well, I think it was like he wanted like a form of punishment for the bee.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
The
it's
bee
gonna die.
dies. Yeah.
Once it stings you, that's it. It got his retribution. If you can survive the bee sting, you win the fight.
That's what one of the things I do. I both love and then I get aggravated with, dealing with him being on the spectrum is he's very logical yet illogical.
Right.
He thinks everything should have a clear-cut answer. He doesn't like beating around the bush. One of his teacher's favorite stories was, that math test where she was like, "No, you have to explain it," and he was like, "But I got the answer." And that's
Right.
just how he is in life. Once the answer makes enough sense to him, that's it. He doesn't have to explore it anymore. But if it doesn't make sense, he wants like a whole full ass equation on why something is. And sometimes I can't give it to him.
And he does not get sarcasm
No, he does
at
not.
all.
At all.
And I don't know if people have picked this up from watching any of my videos. I live in sarcasm. It was how I
Yes,
was
he
raised.
does. And you
If
love to
sarcasm
make
was
jokes.
the force, I would be the strongest one there is.
Yeah. You love to joke around, and he takes you so literally at times. And it's like, no, baby, he's joking. And then you get that.
How do you know he's joking? Is his mouth moving? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he's joking.
I love. Are you being for real, Greg? Are you being serious? It's like, no, he's
I
not.
like when he says, "Are you being for real, Greg?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the only person I know how to be. How would I be anybody else? I have to be for real, Greg." That's not what I meant. Well, why don't you say what you mean instead of asking me vague, unknowable questions? I was not being vague. You're being vague. How do you even know what vague means? That's neither here nor there. That is the definition of vague.
Oh, when you and him and Jake are together, sometimes I want to record you, the three of you. Because Jake, after a while, he tries hard. He's like, oh, I don't want to
That-
upset him.
That right there, folks, is her. She doesn't think I picked up on it because she thinks I'm basic. That right there is her looking at me and going, "Oh, you're so cute and stupid. I must paint you."
I just find that the way you all interact with each other funny as heck, though. For real. Look at you being a hero. I don't raise people
I'm
no
a
more.
hero. I'm gonna shoot the hive right in the face tonight.
Oh, somebody started an escalation protocol. I was waiting for the
Cause they're big and ugly and they're coming at me and I'm really ready for the fight. I'm a hero.
You are so crazy.
Hey, I think that was pretty impressive. Say what you will. I may not make a good song, but I'll make up something.
King of parody songs.
I don't think I could do two of them.
Oh, you made up a good one last night.
You said parody. I used it as a term of pair.
Oh. Oh, good lord.
See? Wonder where her kid gets it from.
He just likes hearing that long, slow sigh. I call it the Lowell sigh after my friend Lowell, because sometimes we're in game and somebody will say something and he just sighs.
Yeah, well, I have a flawless British accent.
That's still one of my favorite stories too.
You guys have got to hear this story. Ted, you got to tell that story.
As I don't know if they know, but I play a lot of MMOs, and one of the MMOs I play
Heather's
is
out.
oh, here comes the blast.
Here
but-
comes the boom.
Yep. One of the games I play is Dungeons and Dragons Online. I have a guild, Lost Legions, that I've been playing with for 10 years now. And we have this guy named Cable Dude. He is one of the funniest players I ever met in my entire life. And he's from New York, just like I am. And we were talking one night, I think it was a raid night, about accents. And how so many girls love different accents. And I got a lot of grief because back then, this was like 9, 10 years ago, I liked Russian accents and German accents on men and Scottish accents, you know, which Axiom knows makes me weak in the knees. I love a brogue. And he said, well, most women like British accents. And I was like, yeah, they're all right, but, you know, they're not really my thing. And he was like, I have a perfect British accent. So we was like, okay, this guy sounds like he's straight out of Brooklyn. We've got to hear this. And he goes, Pip, Pip, go fuck yourself, in the deepest New York accent I ever heard in my entire life. And we just hollered. And that has been our thing. If we say Pip, Pip, somebody's going to say, go fuck yourself, or at least bust out laughing if they can't say the second part, because
Right.
it's not safe for work. But he was
Right.
just so confident. And we had like our guild is like international, so we had Canadian guildies, and we had a guildie from the UK, and all they could do was laugh. Because he was just, I have the perfect British accent, and he didn't change his accent at all. He just said, Pip, Pip, go fuck yourself. And it was hysterical.
And I told that story at work, and for the longest time, customers would start walking up, and they'd be like, "Oh God, here comes that guy." I was like, "Pip, Pip, I'm out of here."
Yep. If I ever say I have a flawless anything, that Pip Pip's probably coming.
Right.
That's just a precursor to the punchline, because he was.
And if we
he
ever
was
just
funny
look at
with
you and
that.
go, "Pip, Pip, you've done something wrong," and that's actually what we're telling you to do.
Yep. That's our code. Did you just say Pip Pip at me? Yes, why yes I did.
Pip, Pip, what are you talking about? Pip, Pip, who says Pip, Pip?
Somebody with a flawless British accent.
And I will often, and Cal will constantly tell me not to do this, and I try really hard not to be this guy. But if you tell me something bothers you, and I think it's funny, I'm gonna do it.
People give you their buttons all the time,
And
though.
yeah,
It
that's-
is your
that's-
superpower. That for
is
real.
something I've never understood. People will voluntarily tell me what their weakness is, and it's like, why would you give me this power? Why would you voluntarily give me your button? Because I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna jump up and down on it. There's no way it's not gonna happen. But people will just voluntarily hand me over that information, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go.
You can almost see the glow in his eyes at times too, when somebody reveals,
It'd
"Oh,
be
that
like-
bothers me."
It would be like if Superman walked up to Lex Luthor and was like, "Hey, you know this glowing rock will kill me till I get exposed to it too much," and then hands him the rock. Why would you do that? Why? Why would you give me that ability and that power to do this to you?
Rig headed your way.
Granted, I'm not going to use it maliciously, but if we're ever in a situation where I find that it could be funny, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Exactly. I mean, I've caught myself giving away stuff. It's like, why did I tell him that? I
Yeah,
really set
it's-
myself up for whatever.
It's funny when she doesn't realize it till after she says it, and she goes, "And I just realized I gave you something to use against me. Why did I do that?"
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know. Why did you do that?
And you've got the same superpower I have, only instead of
Don't worry. We'll deal with
people
it as many times as it
giving
takes.
me their weakness, they just want to be my best friend. We've literally
Yeah.
we've gone to like bookstores or just out and about, and it's nothing for a random stranger to come up and start literally talking to me like they've known me forever. And it used to
It's
weird
a
me out
really
when I was
weird
younger.
it's a really weird thing that happens. I don't understand it myself. And sometimes it does work out for the benefit, but there's a lot of times where it's just like, why would you just walk up to this person you don't know and voluntarily tell them, hey, this is my credit card account number and this is my PIN?
That thing's
I
not
mean,
going
that
anywhere.
one lady when we were at Barnes and Noble, you were like, "Do you know her?" Because she came up and was like, "I love your son's hair because my son rocks a natural fro now that he's a teenager." And I don't mind people saying that to me. I'm used to it. But she went from that to just telling me about her life story while we were standing in line to pay for his book or something. And I was like, Okay. And you came up and was like, do you know that lady? I was like, no. That's just another stranger. And he likes to tease me, oh, you made another friend. You make friends everywhere you go. And it's like, I did not plan for this.
We
Woo,
were
this is my
going to
heart
con
rate.
one year, and we were just sitting in the seats to wait to go into the area. Just no, not talking to anybody. We're not even talking to each other. We were just sitting there, like creepers. And the lady next to her just started talking about I don't know what. I was just like, how do you do that? And then we got into this conversation where she goes, it just happens. People just come up and start talking to me. It's nothing. And
It,
then one whole year later, an entire year, we've had no contact with these people. We didn't exchange phone numbers. We didn't exchange pleasantries. It's like, oh, hey, it was real nice talking to you. We should get, you know, we should change phone numbers so that we can talk and get together next year for con. Then we come in here. We can sit next to each other and have a conversation on stuff. No, none of that. We go back in. Guess who's sitting right next to us again?
The projection rig down.
Nice. I'll head over and study
You're
what else
right.
is there. Maybe we can
Whatever you were thinking
it's
just now, you're right. It was them, and nothing against them. They were fine people. They were fun to talk to, and they were nice. Nothing against them whatsoever. But it's just like, how does this crap keep happening to you? And everybody I go out with, it happens to. I hang out with my buddy Jake. He runs into 3 people he knows. I'm
but
like,
I don't
we're
know these people.
an hour away. I know, but it's just it. Like you guys run into people that all they want to do is talk to you. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Like I said, I'm an introvert, but I do feel people, so I don't want to be rude. And most of the time, people are nice. They just want to talk. But every time we go, the one time when we were waiting online for Ron Perlman, I just talked to the ladies for a few minutes about, how I used to watch that one Beauty and the Beast with him and Linda Hamilton with my
Yeah,
grandmother. And that was, next thing I knew, they knew us by name.
yeah. Well, it was funny because that was really nice of them. This is like one of the times that it actually worked in our favor.
Yeah.
We went to Comic Con, and Ron Perlman was there, and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely getting Ron Perlman's autograph because I have a first appearance of Deathstroke comic that I
Yeah.
had George Perez sign, and I was like, well, I think it would be really cool, even though he had nothing to do with the comic. He does voice the character on the Teen Titans. I thought it would be really cool to have Ron Perlman sign it. So that's what my goal was. And they said, Cal wanted to have the to meet him and everything else, so we were just standing in line. Well, because her kid's on the spectrum of stuff, he can't handle standing in lines just standing there. He's got to have something to do. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we didn't plan ahead and like grab him a Game Boy or something that he could play while he was waiting there. So Cal and him had to get out of line, and I was just like, okay, well, I'll try to do whatever I can do to see what we can get done here. And they come back in the line and stuff, and the line next to us was kind of empty. So everybody that was next to us that she'd been talking to was like, "Well, why don't you guys come back up? We'll let you back up in front of line and stuff." And we were like, "No, no,
They were
that's
really
okay." They go,
nice.
"No, no, no, come on, get back up in line here." And they literally pulled the whole line apart to get them back in the line so that they could meet Ron Perlman and get right back to where they were, even though they stepped out of line. I've never had that happen.
People are nice, and I mean, we all just talked about our favorite Ron Perlman moments, and there were a lot of, families there. The one ladies I would talk to were mother and daughter, and they understood with James. I mean, he was starting to shake because it was like, why are we standing and not doing anything? This is Comic Con, and normally when we go to Comic Con, I'm constantly taking him around to different places and keeping
Right.
him, occupied that way. But he
Yeah,
and he
when we
in
go
the end he
to
got a high five and everything from Ron Perlman. He still
yeah,
remembers it.
when when we go to con, what usually happens is we usually split up. She heads off to look around and stuff. I head over to where all the people are that I want to get autographs for. And I've started to trim that down a little bit because I like looking at the books. I like talking to the artists. Uh, like I said, there was one year, and I don't think you weren't up the one year where I got to meet George Perez, were you?
No, I wish.
We were in line, and I really wanted to meet George Perez because the new Teen Titans. He actually helped create the new Teen Titans and stuff. When one of my favorite comics. Um, and I was just like, I went down, yeah, and I spent, that they tell you when they're coming, and you have like usually a month or two to get everything set up. So I scoured eBay and everything like that to try to find the first issue of the new Teen Titans for him to sign. I already had a couple of comic books that he's worked on to have him sign. I had a couple action figures. I was like, I'm going to get a sketch done. I had a whole list of everything I wanted done. And I know he doesn't tour anymore, but if you ever do get the opportunity to meet George Perez, take it. Don't hesitate. Don't think, well, maybe I'll know. No, definitely take it. The man is just awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I made that mistake. We were up there, and I just didn't want to stand in line. I could have met Stan Lee, and I'm kicking myself every day because of that.
and that's not really her fault either. They mishandled that situation because I did get in line for it, and oh, I think I'm losing my stream here. Hang on.
Okay.
It's loading and it's kind of buffering here.
I see you standing still, and me running
Yeah,
around
but
on your
I'm
screen.
not. Okay, you can actually see what's going on now. Like
Um,
I'm looking at you. You actually see that?
yeah, I can see you moving.
Okay, now it picked up again. Okay. I
Okay.
got the little like loading thing for when you're loading a video, and usually when
Yeah.
that happens, it's gonna cut out on me. So I didn't wanna lose the thing on it. But with the one year that we went to con and Stan Lee was there, I went to get in line and I saw how big the line was, and there was a person standing there, and I was like, well, this is kind of a big line. We'll come back, and they never said, hey, take a ticket with you because you'll need a ticket to get in line, and they were only doing autographs until they ran out of tickets. And the once we went back, because the line was way way shorter than before, I was like, okay, let's get in line. And the person goes, oh no, sorry, you have to have a ticket. And it's like, how are you just now know that you needed a ticket? I was like, I was here. You had a whole roll of tickets. You could have given me one.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I'm sorry, but MotorCon has me worried because every time somebody big that's up there in age comes and we don't see them, something bad happens to them because it happened with Adam West too. And I'm like, I'm paranoid now.
It
I
happened
am.
to more than one person though. Just one
You know,
sec, I'm
I
eating my watermelon.
no problem. I mean, I was like, oh, it would be nice to see Adam West, but the line was way too long. And I knew that kiddo wasn't going to stand, even though we've watched the old Batman TV show. I knew he wasn't going to stand in line for that because, like we said, with the Ron Perlman line, he knew who Ron Perlman was, and he was excited, but standing in line was just not gelling with him.
Right.
And then you
Wow,
get
there
this
was like a
missed opportunities. But the Stan Lee
there's a
one
like
hurt
a substantial lag on my
stream,
stream
yeah.
feed right now. Like I am sitting here watching it, and it's like I've moved my camera twice, and now it just went through, and it was like a minute later. Um,
That's why I didn't want to run both streams because I noticed that the lag is atrocious when we do that.
right. So, guys, what I'm going to do, it's been about an hour and a half. I'm just going to go ahead and shut the stream down. Cal and I are probably still going to play for a little bit yet.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that we entertained more than anything. I will get this posted up to my YouTube later. If there's any games you guys would like to see us play, drop us a line on Twitter. Mine's Axiom83. What's your Twitter handle?
Kalari Gamer Chick, or just type in Tanisa and you'll find me, and there's not that many of us.
Yeah. So if you guys want to see us play anything, or if you have any questions on a game that you're stuck on, we'll try to help you out. We're good people. But we're gonna go ahead and call it because I can feel.
Escalation.
Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and go because my back's starting to get a little twitchy on me too.
Yeah. Plus, it's almost
Twitchy.
time to twitchy. We got stories, but yeah, I'm probably gonna have to make
Oh, yeah,
dinner soon too.
Yeah, so we're gonna call it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you view this on YouTube, thanks for watching the YouTube channel as well. If you feel like it, go ahead and follow us on Twitch. You can subscribe on YouTube if you like as well. We'll try to keep this going as long as we feel it's entertaining.
Yep.
Alright, have a good one.
Bye. Are they